So a couple of days ago, the official Sentai Bandai Twitter account tweeted out a teaser image for two brand new Memorial Edition items coming to the Super Sentai toy line. One for Kiramager to be revealed on May 11th, and one for Zenkaiger to be revealed on May 25th. So these are certainly going to be probably a Kiramager and a gear cleaner, continuing into the line of memorial items released post-show for a lot of different Toku properties. Sentai's really seem to be doing this a lot recently with all the new Zenkaiger stuff, and even Ultraman's done it. So we don't know what these are going to be exactly and what they're going to include, but let's go ahead and talk about today what we think could be happening with these. The history of memorial items has been pretty new to the Super Sentai franchise. If I remember correctly, the first one we ever got was for the Versus Changer from Lupin Ranger vs. Pato Ranger. I never got that. I actually don't really have a lot of the memorial stuff, to be honest. But I think this was a pretty cool release, but it was one of those ones where I don't really think that the toy necessarily needed it. They didn't really make it like a show-sized version of it or anything like that. It was basically just kind of a fancier version of the deluxe toy. The real kind of heavy hitters in terms of Super Sentai memorial items come from Ryusoulger and of course from Zenkaiger. So for Ryusoulger, they released the full-sized Ryusoulken and Gaisoulken, which were huge upgrades from their original deluxe counterparts. Of course, it's going to be a big upgrade when you release a full-size version of the sword. But it's interesting because in the case of Ryusoul, or with the Ryusoulken specifically, there was no Ryusoul Changer done in the Memorial Edition. And it was kind of the first time we've gotten one of these things that was not the series changer. The Gaisoulken is a changer, that's Gaisoul's changer, so that one doesn't really count. But it was just interesting that we got that, kind of showing how more important the Ryusoulken actually ended up being compared to the Ryusoul Changer. Now for Zenkaiger's 10th anniversary, we got the Memorial Edition Mobiritz, which of course I've talked about on the channel, reviewed it, unboxed it. I love it. It's sitting right here behind me. And of course we're about to be getting the Memorial Edition Gokai Sailor this fall, and of course all of the different Memorial Edition Ranger key sets that we've been getting as well. And when Zenkaiger ended, everybody kind of assumed that we were going to get an announcement for a Memorial Gear Cleaner, because it kind of just seemed like, oh, we're just going to get Memorial announcements here pretty recently. And we didn't, not right away at least. We also didn't get one for Kiramager last year, which I didn't even think about that, but we just didn't. But here we are going to be getting them nonetheless. So basically, the Kiramager versus Zenkaiger film, or I flipped them around, but the Zenkaiger versus Kiramager versus Zenkaiger film just came out in Japan, and I'm assuming this is supposed to be some sort of tie-in to that. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, they posted a graphic teasing that Memorial Edition items were coming for Kiramager on May 11th and Zenkaiger on May 25th. We still don't technically know if this is going to be for a Kiramager and a gear cleaner, but it's probably a pretty safe assumption, especially because Kiramager is, holding up the Kiramager and Zenkaiger is, posed with the gear cleaner and stuff. I have the Kiramager, it's just back at home right now. So basically, what are they going to do with these? What are they going to do with this item and pretend I'm holding the Kiramager? Like, I wonder what they're going to do to make them the Memorial Editions. So basically, I think of a lot of cool upgrades for this thing. I love the gear cleaner, but you can definitely add some stuff to it. And I'm kind of trying to look at this through Bandai's Memorial eyes. Like, what would they do with the gear cleaner? The Kiramager is a little different. I don't really know what they would do for the Kiramager, but I made a list of both of these here. I'm going to go through all of my points and what I think they could add to both of these toys and see how right I am. So of course, we don't know for a fact if these are the items that we're going to be getting and what they're going to include, since we're still a couple weeks away from the official announcement for them. But basically, today's video is going to be theorizing what they're going to be, and then in a couple weeks, I'll do a video on the Kiramager announcement day and the Zenkaiger announcement day, and see how right we were. So starting off with the Kiramager Memorial Edition, if that is what it is, I assume that this one will be the cheaper of the two, because the Kiramager just didn't really do much as a toy. It's not a bad toy. I like the design of the Kiramager, and I thought the toy was fun for the 5 seconds that I played with it, and then put it in my Kiramager box. I do like it. I just don't really know what they would do to it. So like I said, I assume this would be the cheaper of the two because the gear cleaner is definitely more involved as a toy. Now the original Kiramager had voice phrases inside for the main 5 machines, and I don't think it had, I'm pretty sure it didn't have any voice phrases for like shovel and roller and the other ones. So the one that was like the carrier and the one that was like the forklift, that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure we didn't get voice phrases for them in there, and they all had voices, and Duston and all the other ones. So I would imagine that perhaps we could have voice phrases from them in there alongside the 5 machines. Memorial editions are pretty much known for adding music from the show and adding voice phrases from the show. That's kind of their whole thing. The Mobiritz does it. I'm pretty sure the Versus Changer does it. I'm pretty sure the Russo-Ken does it. The Memorial Edition Zet Riser from Zet does that exact thing. So I would say that it's probably a pretty safe bet that the Kiramager Changer is going to do the same thing. So I'd imagine we'll get maybe a button that's dedicated specifically to voice phrases instead of just getting voice phrases like we did with the original toy when you clicked the button a couple times. We'll probably get another button on the side that is like music from the show, which will be pretty cool. And I can imagine we'll get like the roll call in there maybe from the Kiramagers. Possibly Takemichi will be included, Kirame Silver, even though that isn't his changer. We might even be getting both changers, it's possible. Since both of them are relatively simple toys, we could possibly maybe be getting like a dual set here or something like that. Since Memorial Edition toys are sort of more adult-oriented collector items, kind of, I could see and would actually really much prefer to see a bigger strap on the Kiramager Changer. I think I was able to put mine on pretty easily, but it was always like at the tightest setting or the highest setting. So hopefully maybe there's a little bit of a slightly bigger strap. That's just, kind of just grasping at straws here for what they really could do for a Kiramager Changer. But here's the thing. What if this isn't a Kiramager Changer? Or maybe that's not just the only thing. Like I mentioned, maybe we're going to be getting a shiny Kiramager Changer as well. But I'm thinking here with like the Russo-Ken and everything like that, what if we're actually also going to be getting a full-sized Kirafugo Arrow? I'm not expecting that. I think that that's kind of an outlandish idea, but I love the design of the Kirafugo Arrow, and it is technically a changer. It's their power-up changer. It's also Kiramager Gold's changer, if you count him as an official ranger, even though he's kind of a joke dream sequence guy. But I don't know. I think we could see some pretty fun things with a Kiramager Changer Memorial Edition, but I'm probably not going to pick it up. I love Kiramager, but like they're going to really have to blow me out of the water for me to want to pick it up, because I'm definitely going to have to get the Memorial Edition Gear Cleaner, because I love Zenkaiger. I am a Super Sentai or a Sentai gear completionist, so I absolutely going to have to get whatever they do there, and I just think that I'd be more invested in what they do with a Gear Cleaner because of all the stuff that they could do compared to what they would do with Kiramager stuff. But we'll see. We'll also see what the prices and stuff are. And this is the first one of the two that we'll have an official announcement for. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do with the Kiramager stuff. So moving over to Zenkaiger, it's very likely that we're going to be getting a Memorial Edition Gear Cleaner, because what else would it really be? It's definitely going to be this. It's 100% going to be a Gear Cleaner. So, of course, we did get recently the Gear Toe Cleaner, which was also a premium Bandai item, and of course these are going to be premium Bandai items. All the Memorial Edition stuff always is. Now, I've seen a lot of people also want them to do a Gear Delener Memorial Edition, which that would be cool. I mean, in my mind, what I would do is I would make it be able to read every Sentai gear, but then again, that wouldn't be accurate to the show, since all of the Legend ones did say Zenkaiger anyway. The only thing that I would do for a like Memorial Edition Gear Delener is make it some kind of a, instead of just having the thing flip open to be the sword, you could like flip it open, take it off, and then attach like a bigger like full-length blade to the sword. That's the only thing I could think I would do for that. However, for this thing, I think there's a couple different cool improvements that they could do to the toy, as well as include some cool things for it. So first up would be Zenkai Red. So Zenkai Red, of course, is one of the most missing, for some reason, Sentai gears in the entire toy line. We've seen what the gear looks like. We have the sound in here for what it would be. We even have a gear that unlocks that sound, because the Zenkaiger 2022 gear unlocks that. So it would be more than compatible with this one. Of course, it would definitely be compatible with the Memorial Edition one. And I don't know why we never got that gear. So I would say that it's very likely that we'll get a Zenkai Red gear with the toy, because they're going to want to include some kind of exclusive gears of some capacity for the toy to have. And I see that being one of the things that they do. I've seen some people wanting them to like size up the Gear Cleaner and make it more show accurate size, because like if in the show, the gears, they're not just like the size of the gap here. There's like a lot bigger of a gap, and the gears kind of like lay on top of it. So like it would be maybe like twice the size, or maybe even like 3 times the size of this platform. But I highly doubt that they're going to actually remold the toy. I think it's just going to be slight improvements. I think the only like remolds they would do is maybe include buttons like here or something, because I'm sure this is going to have music, which I would love for this toy to have music, because I'd love to hear the the roll call music. I would love that. I would love to hear voice phrases from all the different Zenkaigers. That would be so much fun. So I'm sure that toy is going to have that kind of stuff. Now, if we get the Zenkai Red Sentai gear, which like I said, I feel is a pretty good chance that we will. Now, his Gear Cleaner, he had an ability to where he can make a big like laser blade come out of it and use it as like a sword. I don't expect them to include something like that, but it would be pretty freaking cool if they did. So if they included some kind of attachment that could go over the barrel and be a blade, you wouldn't even have to make it big. You could make it a very dinky little blade. I think that'd be kind of fun. Now, I don't think that we will just get a Zenkai Red gear in this, because basically if you look at the previous Memorial stuff, specifically like the Memorial Z Riser, I think is kind of an example of what they could do with something here. So the Memorial Z Riser did not come with like the same medals that the original Z Riser came with, but Z's Forms had his own original medals instead of having 3. So I'll get to that in a second, because also the Z Riser had 3 dummy medals that were supposed to represent when it was just in its weapon mode. So what I think that they could possibly do is they could include the blank Sentai gear, which was a gear that was seen in the finale of Zenkaiger, but doesn't do anything as far as we are aware. It's just a blank Sentai gear. So you could put that in a toy and you could have it do absolutely nothing. But I really think that we could have 7 gears in this toy. And the reason why I think we could get that is because I think that instead of getting a regular Zenkaiger gear, we could get the broken Zenkaiger gear. Now technically the whole team's gears are broken, but we really get to see the broken Zenkaiger gear in like much more detail before they get upgraded to the 2022 Zenkaiger gears. So I think that we could definitely get a broken Zenkaiger, because what they could do is they can include him, broken, and then they can include the other 4 members of the core team, not as their typical Sentai gears, but they can include them as these versions of the gears, which are technically not gear versions, but basically they are Sentai gear looking like background images of when they are in the cockpit of Zenroku Zenkaio. They basically are like special looking Sentai gears. Now they aren't gears like I said, but they can still make them like that. They can still make 4 gears that look like that, a broken Zenkaiger, Zenkai Red, and a blank gear for 7 gears in the set. Maybe they'll do that. I feel like out of those options, those are like the only real options that they would do, because every other Sentai gear got released somehow. We don't need them to do any other gears. Unless they just include the main 5 in here for just whatever reason, they could just do that. But I feel like that's kind of lazy with all the stuff that they could do and still never made from the toy line. And then from there, I think there's just a couple little things that we could have the toy do that the original version could not do, and that is basically related to Stay Caesar and Dawn Brothers. So as we know, gears are still the gimmick for Sentai. They have continued for a second year in a slightly different form, but obviously as we know, the Dawn Blaster is backwards compatible with every Sentai gear that was released during 2021 and 2022. So what's really cool and what they could do is possibly modify the reader in the gear laner to be able to read Stay Caesar's gear, since it never could do that before, and maybe they could even modify it to have the gear combinations programmed inside of it that all the Dawn Brothers stuff can read. So possibly, potentially, they can make kind of a fully comprehensive gear laner to kind of go with the fully comprehensive Dawn Blaster, so that way every gear that you get between last year and this year could be readable in a Zenkaiger toy and in a Dawn Brothers toy. And to that end, we still haven't gotten an actual toy release for Zenkaiger Black's Abataro gear. I imagine that that's going to be something in the Dawn Brothers toy line itself, and not in a Zenkaiger Memorial Edition item. But technically, he does use the gear laner to transform into Zenkaiger Black, so I would guess it's not completely off the table. But basically, I think we have some really cool gears we could get with this. I think they could update it to have more electronics and stuff, to be more Dawn Blaster adjacent, and I think it could be a really cool toy. But with that, that's really my ideas for both the Kiramager stuff and Zenkaiger stuff for the Memorial Edition. I'm excited. I'm also not as excited because I thought I had avoided the idea of us getting a Memorial Edition gear laner. I thought that ship had sailed after we didn't get it announced right after the show was over, and now I'm going to have to spend money on that because I'm definitely going to need whatever they do with this, because I love the gear laner, and I'm definitely going to want to see what they do with an improved one, and I'm intrigued to see what they do for Kiramager. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. What do you think they're going to make, and what you think they're going to do to change the older versions of these upcoming Kiramager and Zenkaiger changers in the Memorial Edition line. And of course, until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivinRangerKey or at LightningFigPR, and we'll see on May 11th what they do for Kiramager, and we'll see on May 25th what they do for Zenkaiger. And I'll see you all next time.